Hi everyone, it's Sarah Fleming from Prepare to Die Papercrafts, and today I'm going to show you how to make this card. And this is a winter themed birthday card, not a Christmas card, but I'm going to make a couple of variations. One of them will be this exact card, and then the other will be a Christmas card. See how this one's a birthday. And then, so this one uses the Snow is Glistening stamp set, which is one of the limited time stamp sets that will be available to customers in November. And is available to demonstrators now, so if you can't wait for it, you can put it in your starter kit, and I'll put up a link for joining so that you can get all the wonderful demonstrator benefits. And this is the happy birthday sentiment we're using on the inside, and it comes from the beautiful bouquet stamp set. These are the dies we're using, and y'all, these are my favorite dies ever. These are the Snowfall Thinlits. They're also a part of this limited time promotion. And this die, like, I can't even get over it. There are 20 dies in this stamp set. And I mean, they're adult, they're detailed, they're classy and fancy. They're the perfect dies for snow. And I've been begging for dies like these. So when I saw I was like, shut up and take my money. So we're gonna get started, and I need to bring over the Big Shot because we have some cutting to do. And the first thing we're gonna cut are these snowflakes. So it's this one, and this one. We're gonna do the first card kind of the same way. Okay, so I have the new white velvet sheets that are also part of this promotion, and they feel, can you hear that? They feel like flocking, and they make the snowflakes just kind of pop and look like snowflakes. So I've been very excited about this paper. That's pretty cool. It's as cool as I was hoping it would be when I saw that it was in there, because the pictures of it on the demonstrator website weren't that great. I mean, all you could see was white. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut these. Okay, now I'm gonna do some more cuts with some different dies for the pink card that we're gonna do, the one that's gonna be a Christmas card. And I'm totally winging this second card. So I'm just pulling snowflakes off that look like I want them to look. And we'll see which ones we end up using. There are so many snowflakes here. And I love them all. So we're going to go ahead and cut the smaller ones. And actually, I think I'll cut this one again. It'll kind of be the biggest of the smaller ones. And plus, I'm doing this long die that's several together. So, okay, I have poked out all of my little bits. And I think I'm going to do a little more than that. And I'm going to just keep doing stuff right on top of my Big Shot because we're going to need it again in just a second. So I have some gold shimmer paint, and I've just put it on one of our acrylic blocks. And I'm going to dab it on the back of the 3 dies that I'm using for this card. So really, you're just kind of sponging it on to get these dies. I'm going to move this actually because this works better if I can lay it flat. So you're just sponging the gold paint all over the die. And you'll do that for all 3 of them until they're completely covered. It cleans up pretty easily. I just wiped them off with a baby wipe, and that got rid of almost every bit of the paint. And then you can go through and run it again through your, run it under some water. Okay, I'm still gonna need some more. This is a big die. It's like 3 3/4 in length or height, or pretty close to it. And it is stunning. Okay, I'm pretty good on the gold paint on this one, and now I'll ink up the other 2. And I'm working kind of fast because I want to make sure that I get this onto the paper before the paint dries. I mean, the paint doesn't dry as quickly as ink, so obviously you've got some time. And then we're going to do that on this one. I need a little bit more. I'm just going to take it out of the lid. So obviously you want to have down some grid paper or some other kind of surface that you can get messy, because it does make a mess. It's not the cleanest of techniques, but it's fun. In case I didn't mention what we're doing, this is called reverse die impressions, I believe. Okay, so here's the cutting sandwich that we're going to use. You have your Big Shot platform. You don't need the thin die adapter. Put on your flattest cutting plate. That seems to help. And then, so your standard cutting plate. And then you're going to have the die with the back facing up. So you're going to arrange your dies on the plate. And I did not get any paint on my plate the first time I did this, so hopefully that'll stay true this time. And then you need the cardstock that you're embossing, which is over here. And you're going to lay that right on top, just kind of right where you want it to be. Might have to hide a little bit of paint because I put that in the wrong spot. And then the blue mat. Oh yeah, so we're using the embossing mats. I don't think I said that. And the embossing mats come with a gray mat, a blue mat, and a white pad. And we're not using the gray mat, we're using this one. Oh wait, there was some paint hanging over, so I really want a piece of scrap paper or grid paper to absorb that paint so I don't get paint on my mat. So then you put your blue mat on. And I have a piece of watercolor paper, kind of as some extra on there to get the right impression, and then the white mat on top. And it's kind of confusing, so I have it written down, and then I'm just going to crank it through and we'll see what happens. Hopefully the same exact thing that happened the first time I did it. Okay, so you have this impression of your die, so the die is debossed to your cardstock there. And then you've also got it with gold shimmer paint. Now here was something funny. Sizzix engraves the die number and their name on the back of these dies. So if you are going to show this, if you're going to leave this as it is, you can paint over it, which is what I did earlier when I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I went ahead and just painted over it. So we'll set those aside and start making our card. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is get the snowflakes into the little impressions. And what I did was I stuck the snowflakes right in the impressions. You don't have to. You could leave it as it is. You could offset your snowflakes or offset them even just a little bit. But I really liked how they looked with them right in the, right over the impression. Oh, that's too much glue. So I'm just putting glue in the center so that the rest of the snowflake can kind of pop up and show that gold underneath. Because otherwise, what do we put the gold there for? So I'm just gluing down the center of the snowflakes. Now, if you were going to just glue these snowflakes down, I would recommend cutting them with the adhesive sheets. That way you don't have to worry about your glue and glue-related issues. But this one, clean my fingers, sorry. But this one, we don't want to glue down everything. We're just gluing down the metal. And here. And so you could place that whole snowflake down into the impression to make sure, and these are all perfectly symmetrical. You can place it down there to make sure that you have the right way, and then pop up your little snowflake edges. Just make sure you hold your finger down in the middle, or hold something down if you don't want glue on your fingers, but I always seem to end up with glue on my fingers. Okay, so I have a piece. This is a card base that's Whisper White, 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. This is gold foil sheet, and I cut, let's see, 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and then I cut out the middle because we're going to be hiding this. I mean, we're going to be covering this gold foil, and I don't want to waste all that foil. So I cut out the middle of it with my trimmer. I did a poor job of cutting it out because I kept letting the cardstocks, the foil sheet slip when I was cutting it. So So it's all crooked, but it's going to be hidden, so it doesn't matter if it's all crooked. And then we're going to glue this on. And see, you can see, you could do this, you could even do them like this and have this face up on the card, because you get this really nice impression of that die using this sandwich. But we did it upside down so that we could get the shimmer paint. Because normally when you're embossing with the dies, because the dies come with instruction, or the embossing mats come with instructions. Normally when you're embossing with the dies, you're supposed to have it the other way. But the reason we put them with the back side up was so that we could get the paint into that impression. Okay. Well, I thought my camera was running, but it wasn't. So I'll just tell you what I did. I heat embossed this in gold, and I cut it out with the Everyday Label Punch, and then I snipped off this part and this part because I didn't want so much punch area to cover up that gorgeous snowflake. And then I put on 5 rhinestones, and now we're ready to do the inside of the card. That was not kind of my camera to not be recording when I'm quite sure I pressed record. So now we're gonna do this. And I explained earlier when I wasn't recording apparently, that my Versamark is pink because I was stamping in Cajun Craze and then stamping in the same spot with the Versamark, but apparently I didn't get my stamp quite clean enough. I'm just doing some snowflakes here. After the Versamark, or I mean, sorry, after the Cajun Craze, and so it left like this pink tint. It looks orange, but it comes out pink on the paper. And then I'm doing the Happy Birthday from Bouquet Blooms, or Beautiful Bouquet. So now when I stamp my Versamark, it stamps pink. So I'm going to have to clean out my whole Versamark pad if I ever want to do clear embossing. And so we're going to emboss this in gold, just like we did the front that you didn't get to see. Get off our little stray powder. I just really want this clean because of how classy this card design is. And then we'll hit it with our heat tool. Okay, so then we just glue that to the inside and we're done with our first one. I'm not going to show you the whole card on the other one. I just want to get it all laid out and do the inking part where we ink up those dies. And then I'll finish the card and show you my finished product, or my finished project. So like I said, you'll be able to get these on November 1st. If you sign up as a demonstrator, you can get them now. You can even put them in your starter kit. I think they're worth it. So there's our first one. Gorgeous winter birthday card. I think it's nice to do a winter card that's not Christmas. Though now we're going to do a Christmas card. So I'm going to set up for that and I'll be right back. I'm back and now I've got the Frost White Shimmer Paint and I just shook it. Make sure you shake your paint really well each time you use it. It's a little bit thinner than the gold, I have noticed. And so now we're just going to sponge on the shimmer paint onto all of these dies that have the little flakes on them. Oh yeah, I'm going to move this for a second. I thought I was being efficient. And just get that shimmer paint going. It's bubbling a little more. That's interesting. It's bubbling a little more than the gold did. But that, I guess that doesn't surprise me since the Frost White does seem to be a little bit thinner than the gold. And we also have bright copper. So we got Vegas Gold, Frost White, bright copper, and there's Champagne Mist, which gives you like a really nice fine glitter well, look. It's kind of like Wink of Stella, but kind of like in a fine champagne color. I don't really know how better to describe it. Okay, let me make sure that one got any. Yes, it did. All right. Oh, now I have to move these so I can get the big shot back here. All right, we'll just kind of angle it that way. Okay, so it's the same sandwich. I'm going to lay the dies down on the cutting plate and arrange them how I think I want them to look on my card front. Let me sponge that a little. I messed it up. And remember, the dies are going to be, the back side is facing you. Back side of the die. And I'm doing the frost white because I want to see how this looks on the colored cardstock, because I've got Flirty Flamingo cardstock that we're going to do it on. I'm going to move that one just a little bit. Thank you. Take your pixel. Okay, so I'm going to put my paper down and we'll see what this looks like. And that covers everything, so we don't need our scrap paper. And then I've got the matte and the watercolor paper here. Well, okay, I'm going to need to sponge a little bit more onto the, but I've lost my sponge. So that figures, so there it is. Sponge a little bit more because I messed this up. And I'm going to flip the cardstock over. And this will now be the back side of the cardstock because it's got paint on it. Okay, so there we are. And then our matte. And then the watercolor paper. And see, this is starting to get flattened, so I'll probably want a different sheet of watercolor paper soon. And then the white plate. And then we'll run that through. See how it comes out. I don't know what I set this on top of, but it was something. Ooh, got a nice impression, so we'll see how it. Okay, so it came out, you know, frosty, but not really, doesn't really give you that much of a color change, but I think this will still look good. So let's make our card now, or I'll make the card and then I'll be back and show you how it looks. Well, best laid plans and all of that. I had some issues with this card, y'all. Namely, this is not a symmetrical die. And I did not think about the fact that I needed it to be symmetrical for this technique to work. So I had to turn, so when I tried to fit this die cut into the hole, it didn't work. So I turned it over and die cut it from behind. I put the die facing the back of the velvet paper. And I cut it out, and that's what's in here, but I don't like how flat the velvet is on here. I'm hoping that maybe by tomorrow it'll pop up. And it's still a usable card. It's just not as pretty as this side. This isn't as pretty as this side. So, and then this didn't fit in the everyday label punch, so I used a framelit to cut that out. And then I just did this on the inside. So, you know, sometimes it doesn't work out the way you think it's going to work out, or you forget something that you should have remembered. So anyway, thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed it. Hit the subscribe button or subscribe to notifications if you're watching on Facebook. And I will see y'all next Wednesday live. I have a doctor's appointment this afternoon, which is why I'm not live right now. Thanks for joining me. Bye-bye.